Chapter 544. The redstone transforms humans into awakeners. Just as those who awaken at the beginning, who have great innate physical talent to the point where they can change nearly in an instant just by accepting a small amount of power, on the opposite end, there are also those who have talent but undergo slower transformations. The conditions that bridge the slight gap between the awakener and the non-awakener might even lie within the individuals themselves. Now I understand where this intuition came from. Yudhir recalled Hin Eldor, who had awakened the ability to teleport alone to save the endangered Gakane, and Prince Ajane, who had suddenly awakened in the face of near-death threats. One was already an awakener, and the other had the potential to awaken in the future. What they had in common was that both had gained power through intense yearning while in perilous situations. Hadn't it already been known that awakeners could seize the opportunity to gain great power when emitting intense yearning? Perhaps it was no surprise that the same could be applied to the process of awakening itself. This is definitely worth testing. Though it was hard to trust him completely as a human being, Thais Yulman was indeed an extraordinary mage in this area. Yudhir was again struck by how fearlessly and unhesitatingly he dwelled into the research of previous unseen phenomena, perhaps because he had long studied magic power, something similar yet different. Yudhir found it increasingly fortunate that Thais Yulman had come under his and the cavalry, binding himself with an oath rather than staying in the Pearl Tower. Master Michelin had regained consciousness. Not long after, Alec, who had been taking care of Michelin, called out to them. Michelin was clutching his swollen head and moaning while he abruptly shouted upon seeing Thais. Thais Yulman, you! When you can't match me with magic, how dare you trip me? Where did you learn such disgraceful, unmage-like behavior? For someone who left the magic tower, you have no decency, calling the name of a senior like me so carelessly and making up false allegations. Who do you think went through all the troubles of bringing you, who was lying down so disgracefully, all the way here? Aren't you ashamed before my younger disciple and outsiders? Quiet! What the hell is this place? If you have kidnapped me to make an experiment, throw me out right now. My, you really don't trust anyone, do you? I thought living in the West might have improved you, but you are the same as ever. Thais Yulman calmly stroked his beard and tilted his head. To any casual observer, he observed to an innocent, kindly old man, but none in that room were fooled by his demeanor. While Alec, who knew his master's character well, sighed and thought, typical of my master, Yudhir approached the fuming Michelin and greeted him. Hello, Michelin. Why are you here, Yudhir? Michelin immediately recognized Yudhir. This is where the cavalry headquarters is located. Are you feeling all right? I heard you met with each other on your way here. Wait, is this really the cavalry? Not that mad old man's laboratory? While the location indeed doubled as Thais Yulman's research lab, the fact that he was conducting research here was not something to be disclosed in detail. Yes, this is the cavalry. May I ask what brings you here? Well, I had just finished my court appearances and was on my way to meet His Grace, the Duke of Paleta, and you. However, I only knew that the cavalry was located within the Imperial Knights' territory. Navigating was not easy. Eventually, I encountered that old man, but let's not go into further details. It gives me a headache. Michelin muttered curses under his breath as he staggered to his feet. If I'm in the right place, let's get out of here. I don't want to spend another second in the same space with that guy. Michelin, if you're leaving, I have one thing to say. Clean up your beard and hair a bit. What's the state of your appearance? It's downright slovenly. Why you judging me as if I'm not even a mage? Let's go. Yudhir led Michelin out of the building. The moment Thais Yulman disappeared from sight, Michelin quickly reverted to his usual demeanor that Yudhir was familiar with. Grumbling but standing upright, the elderly mage who led the Western Mage Union assumed a solemn posture and expressed his gratitude to Yudhir. Thank you. Because of you, I was saved from further embarrassment. Perhaps due to their frequent interactions in the West and the fact that Udir had helped him escape from Thais Yulman, Miklin's tone had become considerably friendlier. You're welcome. Ah, I heard you have been granted the title of Baron. Our mage union has sent a small gift to congratulate you, although it probably hasn't arrived yet. Shall I call you Baron from now on? Having been asked a similar question multiple times already today, Udir concealed a sigh and nodded. After briefly conveying that it was okay to call him the same as in the past, he received some well intended advice that being too modest was also not good. Speaking of which, ever since I bought that letter, I sensed that you and the cavalry share a deep bond. Makes sense. To you, the power of an awakener is more appealing than an untapped gold mine. Michelin mumbled as if he understood even without being told. He refrained from asking any more why Thais Yulman was here, instead cursing for a while, but closed his mouth when the main building of the cavalry appeared. It was far more elaborate than he had expected. Though not ostentatious, the facade was as impressive as any space designed for knights or mages, captivating one's eyes instantly. The sounds of cavalry members training and periodic explosive noises in the distance made the old mage tense, but Udir didn't even blink. He seemed quite accustomed to such noise and pressure. So, this is the cavalry, truly the focal point of the new power cultivated by the Emperor and the Duke of Paleta. Where he once would have considered it an inconsequential place filled with commoners, the elder mage, now fully aware of the cavalry's accomplishments in the West, found nothing mundane about it. If you're not feeling well, I can arrange for you to meet a priest before taking you to the commander's office. What would you like to do? Ah, if it's a priest of the cavalry, would that be the person I know? If so, I would prefer to meet him after seeing the Duke. Understood. Then let's. Upon entering the building, Michelin's amazement did not cease. Is that a glowstone? To embed such valuable stones even in corridor, even our Western Mage Union's headquarters doesn't have these. Be careful, there is a child ahead. A child? Where? Michelin, who had been looking around, turned his head at the odd remark. He blinked in surprise upon discovering a tiny kitten sprawled on the railing of the staircase he was about to touch. Did he just call this kitten a child? The kitten, wearing a red silk ribbon around its neck, yawned lazily as soon as it made eye contact with Michelin. Its swaying tail wrapped around Udir's wrist before falling back down. Udir glanced down indifferently at the kitten and offered a short greeting. Hello. There was something different about the greeting, something that didn't quite fit with a mere acknowledgement of the animal's cuteness. But Michelin couldn't put his finger on what exactly it was. He alternated his gaze between the kitten and Udir, his mouth closed so tightly that wrinkles formed on his chin. Could it be, even if there are awakeners with all kinds of bizarre abilities, could someone actually turn into an animal? And even if they could, wouldn't they be doing something rather than lazing around like this? Confused, they continued to climb the stairs, finally reaching the entrance of the top floor office. Commander, it's Udir Ale. We have a guest. Knocking on the door, Udir Ale announced their business and stepped aside. Michelin finally came face to face with the reason he had come here, Duke Paleta. Greetings, Your Grace, Duke Paleta. It's been a while, Michelin. I thought you'd be busy enjoying the trial of Duke Dane in the capital. Have you finished all your affairs there? The young Duke was still breathtakingly handsome. However, knowing what kind of terrifying things lay beneath that beauty, Michelin braced himself, refusing to be lulled by Paleta's casual smile. He had not forgotten the days when Duke Paleta, with that very face, had relentlessly pressured him. Whether it was promising eternal support for the Union and their research, only to cunningly lock the mouths of Michelin and his fellow mages with a vow, or manipulating magic power, even as an awakener, Michelin had not forgotten any of it. But despite all that, He bore no animosity and even had a certain degree of admiration for the Duke, given their different life experiences and viewpoints. The abilities of Duke Paleta Kishirla Or were indeed remarkable. Yes, most of my tasks in the capital are done. Baron Wilhelm, who was as much an enemy to our union as anyone could be, was stripped of his title and had his assets confiscated before being exiled to a southern island. As for Duke Dane, a verdict has not been reached, but it seems likely he will be exiled as well. I see. Duke Paleta smiled as if he already knew all of this. Yes, so before I left the capital, I thought I would pay you a visit and bring some news. Any interesting news? Yes, the first thing I would like to mention is the reaction to the recently released Uther number 1 has been quite heated.